Hello Exiles, and today is the fifth and final video that I'm going to be providing to you in regards to all of the content that is coming for Path of Exile 2's endgame. So today's video we'll be focusing on Ultimatum, and all of which of this is coming into Path of Exile with some slight changes. Now I will detail the changes as we go through, but today's video is just going to primarily focus on Ultimatum. Now, I would like to say, if you are enjoying my videos and my content and that they are being helpful for you, then throw us a subscribe and it will greatly help the channel. Throw us a like, throw us a comment, whatever it may be. What I would like to do is grow this channel over the next 12 months and be one of the top creators and content creators for Path of Exile 1 or Path of Exile 2. With that being said, let's jump into Ultimatum. Now, the first question you're probably asking is, what is an ultimatum? Now, an ultimatum is an altar that you will find either in maps or in other areas. Now, obviously in Path of Exile 2, they won't be contained within maps, as this is part of the new Trial of Chaos that you will be able to ascend with. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through how it works in Path of Exile 1, and then we'll discuss Path of Exile 2. So basically, the altar will display a reward, an objective, and 3 modifiers to choose from. Now, the player must select a modifier before beginning the trial on which one they want to take. Now, there are 4 possible objectives. You can either defeat waves of monsters and kill enemies until the bar fills up, which is what is going on right now. Survive and don't die until the timer runs out. Stand in stone circles, or protect the altar, killing enemies that obviously get close to the altar. Now, after successfully completing every single round, the encounter will be completely frozen in time, and the player is offered 2 choices. Either do you end the trial and receive the accumulated rewards, or do you aim for more rewards and start the next round by selecting a new modifier to add. Now, if the player characters die or stays outside of the circle for too long, then you will receive 7 stacks of ruin, then the ultimatum will fail and all rewards will be removed. Now, there is an protect the altar option. Now, if the altar is obviously destroyed, this is also considered a fail. Now, each trial has 10 rounds, and there were some options and some occasions in Tier 14 maps where starting the final round, there was a chance that you would get teleported to the Trial of Ordeals arena, where you would face the Trialmaster as a boss. Now, this is obviously going to be changing in POE2, and as you can see, it is obviously not going to be contained within a little circle. Now, what I've done here is I've picked the most hardest options that I could to try and make it very spicy, to show to you how crazy this can get sometimes when you start to stack modifiers on top of each other. So I've gone for the lightning, the cold, and the fire. And obviously, as you can see, there's lightning beams firing all over the screen, there's fire firing at me, there's blades firing at me, and as you can imagine, if you then have this with all of the monsters as well, it will get very rippy, and eventually, if you don't be careful, then you will eventually just die, like I did. And obviously the ultimatum will then fail. However, as we know in POE2, that is obviously going to be connected to the Trial of Chaos. Now, as we know, there is also, as they showcased in the live stream, there is a chance that you will be able to get a key, which will then take you to the Trialmaster. This is the Trialmaster fight as it currently is in Path of Exile 1, and I don't know if it's going to be any different to this because it's Path of Exile 2. They may upgrade it, they may make it a little bit more special, I don't know. But this is the Trial of Ordeals, and there is occasions where he'll do certain abilities and he'll completely freeze the screen where you cannot move, you cannot cast any abilities, and he will still do abilities to you, and then eventually your skills will then unfreeze, at which point then you can then attack him. In terms of POE2, as they showed in the live stream, you obviously have to go through the Trials of Chaos and go through 4 rounds. So you have to go through 3 rounds of monster rooms, and then the final room would be a boss of some reasoning, which, as he stated, would be random. But you have to bear in mind, all of the modifiers that you have added onto the waves beforehand will then be applied to the boss. So if you have then give him 50% more resists, if you've then added fire turrets in the room, or maybe you've added lightning degen or lightning circles on the floor, it will then obviously make it a hell of a lot harder, and you'll have to be careful where you stand. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I would prefer to do an ultimatum than the Sanctum Trial of Sekima that they have put as the first trial. I'm not the best at Sanctum. Whenever I did it, I would always fail in the traps. I was very good at killing stuff, but the trap rooms, when it starts to get to the 4th floor where you had that L-shaped room, was an absolute pain, and I feel that if there's anything like that in the Trial of Sakima, then I potentially will just fail and I won't be able to ascend. Whereas with the Ultimatum trials, it's just a case of just killing monsters or surviving or escorting something across the screen, and then once you've done that, go to the end of the zone and progress to the next area. I feel that this will be a hell of a lot easier to do and complete, and there will be a little less stress involved rather than having to dodge nearly every single monster's abilities that you will have to do if you do the Trial of Sakima, which is basically like a bit of Sanctum, where you will have to dodge all the telegraphed attacks, and if you don't, then it will affect your honor. Other than that, that is basically it. There was only really 2 things that are connected to Ultimatum that you need to know, and that is that you will have 3 modifiers at the beginning of every single wave, so try not to screw yourself over and pick the most difficult one. Try and do one that adds a little bit of difficulty but doesn't make it obscenely difficult. You have to kind of think for the future. You have to think, that modifier that I'm putting on this, is that going to make the boss impossible to kill? Is giving them 50% resists going to make it really difficult? Is it going to make the fight a lot longer? Maybe giving them additional, maybe losing flasks charges, or maybe adding something to do with adding penetration. Don't know. This is something that we're going to have to find out. I feel that they would have cooked up some brand new mods for POE2, but the only advice that I can give you is don't try and make the instance and the trial too difficult, because you will not be able to complete it, which then means you will not be able to ascend. And that is basically it, guys, in terms of Ultimatum, and that concludes my 5 video series. Now, don't worry, that's not the end of me. What I will be doing over the next few days is I will be doing a few more videos in regards to what I want you to avoid seeing on YouTube. I'm going to tell you what my league start plans are, and I'm going to go through that. I want to have a chat about what content we want to see in Path of Exile 2 that could be brought over from Path of Exile 1. I'm going to have a quick chat about how you can juice your waystones and what we know from so far in the live stream and from the LA event, what you can actually do. So don't worry, I'm not going to be spawning any lies. I'm literally just going to tell you what I have seen so far and how I believe is probably the best way for you to juice the end game as much as possible, only from the facts and what we have seen, with no speculation. And then finally, on the last day, if we have access to the skill tree, then I may potentially be putting out a video to show you the new mercenary, and I may try and see if I can patch together some sort of mercenary tree just for you to follow, just so that you have something to be able to follow on day 1 or day 2 of launch. With that being said, guys, thank you for watching these videos. Look out for the ones coming up soon. Again, like I said, if you are enjoying my content, throw us a subscribe. I am helping to try and push this channel as much as I can, and I would greatly appreciate your efforts to help me. Thank you for watching, and again, stay sane.